Happy Sunday. Oh, geez. What a opener to this 2021 season. First of all, nice to have fans back at Ford Field, eh? But, geez, Lions couldn't get it done today. They dropped their first under Dan Campbell to the 49ers, 41-33. We'll talk about it. I've got thoughts. Obviously, they gave it a heck of a run to try to get back in the thing. But at the end of the day, when you're down what they were, going into the last couple of minutes of the game, it's just incredibly difficult to do. For the 49ers scored 24 points in the second quarter. The Lions were down, they dug themselves quite a hole at the half. And at the end of the day, that you can't do that in the NFL. And so the Lions got bit by it today. They tried to come back, but it would just they ran out of time up against the clock. And at the end of the day, you just can't do that in the NFL. So we're going to talk about that. Also, how about Michigan? Wolverines with quite a performance last night. So we'll talk about that coming up as well here in a couple of minutes. But it's good to have you here on SportsWrap this Sunday evening. I think there's a lot of interesting storylines around the NFL. Certainly, you look like what's going on down in Kansas City right now. I think last I saw, at the half, Cleveland on top of Kansas City by 12. By 12 points. And look, week one, obviously, and still a whole half to play there, but, just an interesting score that'll catch your eye. And then, obviously the Packers off to a bit of a slow start. They're playing New Orleans in Jacksonville. Again, we've got a lot to talk about today, obviously. So we're going to get to it. But interesting developments in this Lions game, obviously, that we're going to get to. So we're going to talk about that here coming up in just a couple of minutes. Oh, and also some good news. Tigers win today, took them 11 innings. But they beat the Rays 8-7 in 11 innings. So, I mean, again, the Tigers continue to be playing pretty good baseball. They continue to impress. I think their pitching staff has gotten better as the year has gone on. I think defensively, they've gotten better as the year has gone on. At the plate, certainly that's the case. And I've been really impressed with guys like Robbie Grossman, Harold Castro. Those guys, I think, have turned this thing around pretty good. And they're playing good baseball right now. So I continue to be really impressed with what the Tigers have been doing with some of the talent that they have. And then this offseason, certainly the addition of adding talent is going to be pretty important. So adding some new guys, some new pieces, and then seeing what this team can do next year and then in the next couple of years. It's going to be pretty exciting to see. All right, I'm going to put this, we're going to get the station in here, and we're going to get this thing going here in just a couple of minutes. All right, so bear with us.
Alleging that Apple has been running an illegal monopoly that stifles competition. The maker of the popular Fortnite video game said in a court filing today it will take the ruling to the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals in San Francisco. A federal judge Friday ordered Apple to dismantle a lucrative part of the competitive barricade guarding its iPhone App Store, but rejected Epic's allegation that Apple ran a monopoly. Some people have all the luck, like a lottery winner in North Carolina. More from Fox's Paul Stevens.
You'll probably understand why Terry Splawn of Concord, North Carolina, has a favorite spot to buy state lottery tickets. Splawn's recent $20 scratch-off ticket purchased at Sam's Mini Stop in Concord produced a $100,000 win, or about $71,000 after taxes. Now, back in April of 2017, Splawn bought a ticket from Sam's and won $1 million. And almost 2 years later, he went to the same store again, and yes, you guessed it, he bought another scratch-off ticket, and he won another $1 million prize. Paul Stevens, Fox News.
And I'm Joe Giro, Fox News.
WJR Traffic and Weather First.
Southbound on US 23 between Thompson and North Road, stop-and-go traffic due to construction work that features a single-lane closure. 23-minute delays there at the moment. Northbound 75, heavy delays between 9 Mile and 11 Mile Road 11-minute delay there due to construction work in that area that's causing some heavy congestion. Northbound 275 traffic gets hung up between Sibley and 94. Plan on tacking on an extra 5 minutes to your travel time if you're headed in that direction. I'm Will Hatzel, WJR Traffic and Weather First.
We've got the clouds early, isolated storms developing late. Overnight low falls back to the low to mid 60s tomorrow. Clouds, stray shower, thunderstorm, mid to upper 70s. Better chances for those stray to scattered storms Monday night. From the Weather Channel, I'm Jeff Eno on News Talk 760 WJR.
Custom built for Detroit. News Talk 760 WJR. Detroit's News Talk 760 WJR. It's time for Sports Wrap on 760 WJR.
All right, this is the wrap on 760 WJR.
To a car phone we go. Dave, thanks for hanging on. You're on 760.
Gentlemen, and Steve and Dan, you got the chemistry. It's cooking.
Presented by FanDuel. Download the FanDuel Sports app today. FanDuel, more ways to win.
Are you calling us from your office?
I'm doing SportsCenter tonight with
Are you really?
Dan Patrick.
Well, I'm very impressed. By the way, give Dan our best. He's a good man. And
I will. Hey, Dan, Chuck Swirsky says hi. This is the best sports wrap has ever been, in my opinion.
Now, here's your host, Chris Renwick.
Oh, it's finally back. The NFL has returned, and it feels good. It feels good. What did not feel good particularly today was the outcome of this Lions game. Lions lose it 41-33 against San Francisco. And look, I don't know that anybody should be surprised by this outcome, right? I don't think anybody expected the Lions to win. Now, when you're able to come out in the last couple of minutes of the game, put together a couple scoring drives, and then give yourself a chance to at least tie the damn thing up, it's impressive. It's impressive. But I just, when you're down 24 points with under 2 minutes to go, you can't dig yourself in that kind of hole. You just can't. It doesn't bode well for you. I mean, and look, what the Lions did today was impressive. You know, a couple of late game touchdowns within that last 2 minutes, you know, converting on an onside kick, turning the ball over, you know, causing a fumble, recovering it, and then giving yourself an opportunity to at least punch it in, get yourself a touchdown, 2-point attempt, attempt, and then away you go. They ran out of time and they dug themselves too big of a hole. But I think when you look at the DNA of what this team is and what they are going to be going towards the future, this is exactly what I thought they would be. This is exactly the type of mentality that Dan Campbell and company are trying to instill in this team. This is the foundation they're trying to lay. This is look, we're not going to go down without a fight. We are going to give you an entire game. Every single second we're going to play. Every single second we're going to play. I think that's a great mentality to have. Today didn't work out because they were just in too big of a hole. But I think this is exactly what we expected the Lions to be, at least from a standpoint of the way that they approach these games. They're going to come at you and they're not going to stop. And they didn't stop today. You know, when you look at the way that Jared Goff played, he ain't Matt Stafford. It's just check down city at Ford Field. Just little underneath passes all day, it seemed like. And then you got Amon-Ra St. Brown on a wheel route on the outside early in the game, missed him. I mean, there were opportunities there for the Lions. And unfortunately, they just weren't able to capitalize on a lot of them. Now, I thought Penei Sewell, moving from the right side of that line, where he has been all training camp, all preseason, working and trying to figure out how to play right tackle after spending his career, most of his playing life at left tackle. When you get him over on the right side, he's been working the right side. And with this injury to Taylor Decker, it seems to have progressively gotten worse, strangely enough. It was a finger, then it was a hand, and now there's, talk of a potential surgery, real downtime here for Taylor Decker. So what do? They move Sewell over to the left. All right. But then you got Sewell saying, look, this is Taylor Decker's gig. This is his position. This isn't like me taking over the spot. I thought Sewell played pretty well today, all things considering. I thought Nick Bosa, for the most part, was held in check. It's pretty impressive for a guy who has spent the entirety of his NFL career up until this point at right tackle. So I was impressed with that. Now, you want to talk about what the real future is for Penei Sewell and what position he should be at? That's a different conversation. But with Taylor Decker here for the long term, Penei Sewell is going to be on the right side. At least that's what it appears to be. So I thought, again, I'm not surprised that they lost. I was a little bit surprised at the fight that they showed at the end. I thought that was pretty cool. That was pretty exciting. But at the end of the day, it was just too little, too late. But defensively, they've got issues. I thought a lot of the young guys actually played pretty well. I don't know. And look, and now we've got the Lions. I think it was Dan Campbell in his post-game presser that said that the Jeff Akuda injury is in the area of the ankle Achilles. So they're going to get a couple of other tests done to see what exactly this injury is here for Jeff Akuda. But he came limping off the field and the game obviously didn't return. And Jeff Akuda got burned twice today, pretty badly. Got reamed out by the secondary coach, reamed out by the corner coach. I mean, look, Jeff Akuda at this point has been a bust. He's been a bust. And unfortunately for him, time is running out for him to be able to show people what he's got, what he is. It's unfortunate. But at this point, Jeff Akuda has been a bust, and now he's going to be potentially injured, out long-term, or at least for the next couple of weeks. We'll see, depending on what this injury is. But time is running out for Jeff Akuda. And he did not play well again today. Did not play well last year, certainly, when he wasn't injured. So that pick, when you draft Jeff Akuda at number 3, that's a tall order. It's a tall order to live up to. I always contest that you never draft a corner there because the value isn't there. But they did. And now, at this point, Jeff Akuda has not played very well. So we'll wait. We'll see what this injury is. Perhaps he'll be out a week. Maybe he won't even be out at all. Maybe he won't even miss any time. But you got to get Jeff Akuda in position to where he's getting better. And at this point, he hasn't gotten any better. Anyway, look, Lions, they did a nice job today in terms of not giving up, fighting until the very end, giving themselves an opportunity, which they had. But at the end of the day, too big of a hole, and you ran up against the clock, and there was nothing you could do. All right, more to come here on SportsWrap this evening. We didn't get to talk about the Michigan game yesterday because we were on beforehand. Michigan played last night. I'll give you my thoughts on that. And what this and does this make Michigan fans feel any better? Look, if you want to dial in, you want to weigh in on the Lions, Michigan, 800-859-0957. That's the number for you to call. And we're live on Facebook and YouTube, so make sure you tune in there. All right, more to come on SportsWrap. Chris Renwick right here on WJR. Don't go anywhere.
Attention, fellow baby boomers. Guy Gordon here, speaking to you today on behalf of my longtime friends at Senior Health Medicare. I trust my expert friends so much, they recently assisted my parents. WJR will continue to inform our listeners 65 and up on the continual adjustments to Medicare, and we will drill down on all aspects of Medicare and how it affects such things as post-hospital care, along with your drug prescription plans. Final expense policies are being considered, so let them walk you through what type of policy may help you and your family in 2021 and beyond. Call today for a free plan comparison and to learn more about final expense policies. Thousands of WJR listeners have already received savings by just taking the time to speak with Senior Health Medicare. Your review only takes minutes for them to assist you like they assisted my family. Let Senior Health Medicare become your local experts. Visit seniorhealthmedicare.com today for your no-obligation review. Call 248-230-8595. That's 248-230-8595.
All right, obviously the NFL is here. It's back. It's officially back. And you got a big game coming up a week from today. How about Chiefs-Ravens? Right? It's a big one. Well, FanDuel Sportsbook making it even bigger. Because FanDuel giving new customers 30-1 odds on either team to win. Means by the end of that game, you could be winning $150 on just a $5 bet. Look, and again, I understand Chiefs are down at the half, hosting Cleveland. They're down by 12. I understand. This is one game. I refuse to believe that the Chiefs aren't for real. So I'm going to go with the Chiefs in that one. And because of that, and look, maybe you want to bet just an outright winner. That's possible. But maybe you want to build a parlay. You want to take a money line, a spread, touchdown score. It's all there for you. And that's why I bet on FanDuel Sportsbook, because it's incredibly easy to use. It's safe and secure. And when you win, you get your payouts fast. So find out why FanDuel Sportsbook is rated America's #1 sportsbook in America. It's betting made simple, and they're hooking you up with great offers all the time. So sign up using my promo code Renwick, that's RENWICK, before the Chiefs take on the Ravens, and you could win $150 on just that $5 bet. Remember, use my promo code Renwick, RENWICK, so they know I sent you. That's exclusively on the FanDuel Sportsbook app.
21 and older and present in Michigan. New users only. $10 first deposit required. Must wager in designated offer market. Maximum bonus $200. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Restrictions apply. Gambling problems? Call 1-800-270-7117 for confidential help. Join us for a round of golf during Beaumont's Women's Healthcare Classic. Women are invited to golf the Dearborn Country Club course, while men and women can spend the afternoon at TPC, Michigan. All meals, cocktails, gifts, and awards are included in the event, with proceeds benefiting women's health services at Beaumont Hospitals Dearborn, Taylor, Trenton, and Wayne. Get your foursome together and sign up today. Hosted by Karen Wilson Smith-Bauer and Doctors Harrison, Burkhill, Wang, Sanji, and Associates. Visit beaumont.org/WHCC for information, registration, and sponsorships.
How you doing? This is Steve Courtney, inviting you to join me and Local 4's Jamie Edmonds for a little something we call The Sportsbook. Monday nights from 7 to 8, presented by WynnBET. You can download the WynnBET app today on the Apple Store or Google Play. Win with WynnBET.
Are you paying too much for term life insurance? There's a tremendous price war among the major term life companies. Rates have dropped dramatically in the past few years. For example, a man age 45 non-tobacco user, $1 million of coverage, $75 per month level rate for the next 10 years. Or a man age 50 non-tobacco can obtain $500,000 of coverage for a monthly premium of only $110 per month, guaranteed not to change for the next 20 years. That's right, level rate guaranteed not to change for the next 20 years. If you're a smoker, we have great rates available for you as well. At Termbusters, we specialize in policies of $500,000 and above. If you're looking for new or replacement term life insurance, call today for a quote at 1-800-569-5440. That's 1-800-569-5440. You're probably paying more than you should. Call Termbusters, 1-800-569-5440, or visit our website at termbusters.net. Remember, 1-800-569-5440. Rates and availability may vary by state. Sample rate quotes based on preferred non-tobacco underwriting. Exam required to qualify.
Now back to more Sports Wrap. Presented by FanDuel. Download the FanDuel Sports app today. FanDuel, more ways to win. Here's Chris Renwick.
All right, we're going to get back to some more NFL talk here in a couple of minutes, because I got some interesting nuggets for you. And I'll tell I'll tell you what. Obviously I do a lot on FanDuel. I bet on FanDuel. I love FanDuel. And I was really right about one of my bets, and I was really wrong about one of them. So we'll talk about that coming up. And one of them is interesting because I was talking about the Jacksonville Texans game, the Jacksonville Houston game, and well, let's just say I was very wrong. I was very wrong. I don't know that I'm wrong long term, but I was certainly wrong on this game. But we'll talk about that in a couple of minutes. So we were on with you last night, 6 to 7, of course, right here on WJR, as we are every Saturday and Sunday. And obviously last night, because Michigan had an 8 o'clock kick, we weren't able to talk about the game. Now, we did kind of break it down, talk about what we wanted to see. Now, let me just start with this. Okay, I tend to be kind of a negative Nancy. So let me start with some of the negatives, all right? I still very much question the play of Michigan cornerbacks. Jamal Green and Vincent Gray have not proven themselves to be very good. They haven't proven to be very reliable, and they certainly haven't proven to be able to stop a slant, for goodness sakes. And you look at what teams like Michigan State did last year, right? And look, Mel Tucker has this thing in a much better spot now than I thought he would have. If you would have asked me, when he took the job. But you look at what Michigan State did last year, and they exploited Michigan's corners. I don't know how that's going to be any different this year. Now, granted, I believe it appeared at least that Michigan's defensive line yesterday, even their linebackers, especially when obviously you look at Aiden Hutchinson, who had an incredible game, they were able to get some pressure. They weren't bringing a ton of exotic blitzes. They were able to get pressure on a pretty good Pac-12 team. Pac-12 offensive line that has underperformed. They've underperformed the O-line of Washington. But that is one of the better offensive lines in the Pac-12, and they got some substantial pressure last night. But I do still have some questions about the corners on the outside of that defense. Now, here are the positives, at least from a team perspective. This is probably, and I don't mean to sound hyperbolic, but this is probably the best offensive line from a physicality standpoint that Jim Harbaugh's had since he's been at Michigan. This is probably the best, tandem of running backs that Jim Harbaugh has had during his time at Michigan. And I believe that they're going to be able to run the football in most cases, in most games this season. They're going to be able to run the football. Blake Corum was really good. I thought certainly Hassan Haskins was very good. But the offensive line was getting a ton of push. They were making gigantic holes at times. And it made it really easy for Michigan. Now, Michigan threw, I think, 15 passes. Caden McNamara wasn't asked to do a whole lot from a passing perspective. Now, a lot of that is they were able to run the football to the tune of more than 360 yards. And I'm of the belief, and it's probably a little bit of an old school mentality, don't fix what ain't broken. If Washington can't stop your run game, feed the run game. I have no issue with that. None whatsoever. And then you go on Twitter and you see all of the nonsense from some Michigan fans that are upset that they're not throwing the ball more. That's not something that resonates with me. If you're being effective, then continue to be effective. and until Washington can prove that they can stop you, then you keep doing what you're doing. I have no problem with it. None. And quite frankly, you're able to keep your playbook relatively disguised. I don't have an issue with it. So now Michigan debuts in the AP Top 25. They come in at number 25 this week. Poll was released earlier today. And so Michigan sneaks in. And again, I don't think any of that matters, truthfully. I think that they got to continue to improve on defense, which I think I thought they showed marketable signs of improvement from week 1 to week 2. I will give them that. But they got to continue to get better. I think the offense is in a pretty good spot. Now, I think we still have questions about who can fill the role that is now vacated by Ronnie Bell. We don't know that yet. We don't know which receivers are stepping up. So that still remains a bit of a question that's out there. But I think from an offensive line perspective, good. Feel comfortable with it. From a running back perspective, good. Feel comfortable about it. And even Cade, Cade, I feel at times he's been relatively composed. He's been okay. I don't have a lot of concerns with Cade Cunningham until I need to have concerns about Cade Cunningham. So I know Michigan fans they wanted to see it thrown around the yard. They wanted to see Cade, grip it and rip it. It just wasn't the case last night. You were able to pound him on the ground, and you did to the tune of more than 360 yards. It's all right. That's okay. That's all right. And believe me, it wasn't like they were running anything crazy. They were running counters at the time. And this was just, helmet on helmet. They weren't. Washington just didn't have an answer. So I had no problem with it. Place was cool. I love the all blue jerseys and uniforms. I think that's awesome. So I think that Michigan fans should at least have a little bit of optimism here. I think going in, there were some question marks. Those questions are starting to be answered one by one. The Ronnie Bell injury adds a question that you didn't expect to be there, but now is. So we still need to get some clarification on that. But overall, I think there should be some optimism about this Michigan team going forward. All right, coming up on the other side, I wanted to talk about a couple of things. Talk to you about a couple of my bets that went awry. Well, one of them went awry, really awry. You can't bet 1,000, but on another one I hit. But on that one that went really wrong, it was the Jacksonville-Houston game. And there are some crazy stories coming out about Urban Meyer. Maybe not crazy. Maybe not crazy. Maybe pretty predictable. Well, I'll tell you what that's about. Coming up next right here on SportsWrap on WJR. Don't go anywhere.
Yo, what is up, ladies and gentlemen? This is Sir Mix and Match a Lot coming to you live from Hungry Howie's, where I'm talking famous flavor and mixing and matching any two items on the Hungry Howie's Mix and Match menu for $5.99 each. I'm talking a medium one-topping pizza, Howie bread, a Pepsi 4-pack, a regular oven-baked sub, a regular salad, a Howie cookie, and wings. Any two for $5.99 each.
Okay, can I just order my food, please?
Oh, sure.
Great. I'll have...
Sorry.
Hungry
Howie's.
The pandemic's reminded us we live in a sea of airborne germs that can assault us with every breath. Your nose is the body's first line of defense by helping filter out allergens, bacteria, and viruses before they reach your lungs. But like any air filter, the more clogged up it gets, the less it works. So how do you clean your nose? I'm Martin Hoke, and I didn't invent nasal irrigation. The neti pot's been around thousands of years. But I did invent Navage to make cleaning your nose easy. Navage uses powered suction to flush out mucus and germs that cause congestion, or worse, can make you sick. Over 2 million people use Navage to breathe better, sleep deeper, snore less, and feel healthier without drugs. Navage has over 70,000 online reviews averaging 4.7 stars because it works and it's easy to use. Go to Navage.com or find Navage at Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aid, Bed Bath, and Target. Now available with eucalyptus for a spa-like experience. Navage. Navage. Clean nose, healthy life.
Attention, fellow baby boomers. Guy Gordon here, speaking to you today on behalf of my longtime friends at Senior Health Medicare. I trust my expert friends so much, they recently assisted my parents. WJR will continue to inform our listeners 65 and up on the continual adjustments to Medicare, and we will drill down on all aspects of Medicare and how it affects such things as post-hospital care, along with your drug prescription plans. Final expense policies are being considered, so let them walk you through what type of policy may help you and your family in 2021 and beyond. Call today for a free plan comparison and to learn more about final expense policies. Thousands of WJR listeners have already received savings by just taking the time to speak with Senior Health Medicare. Your review only takes minutes for them to assist you like they assisted my family. Let Senior Health Medicare become your local experts. Visit seniorhealthmedicare.com today for your no-obligation review. Call 248-230-8595. That's 248-230-8595.
You could win car washes for an entire year with an unlimited Club Express exterior membership from Jack's Car Wash. Text keyword car wash to 800-859-0957 to be entered. That's keyword car wash as one word with no spaces to 800-859-0957. Standard message and data rates apply. For official rules, visit WJR.com. Wash your car as often as you want. The Jack's Unlimited Club. Plans start at $22.99.
You may come across a tick this summer, and here are some facts that you should know. There are 500,000 new cases of Lyme disease in the U.S. every year. Even if you receive a negative test, you may still have Lyme disease. Not everyone gets a rash after a tick bite, and nearly 20% of people develop chronic symptoms such as severe headache, fatigue, brain fog, and neurological problems. To learn more, visit the Global Lyme Alliance at GLA.org. That's GLA.org.
I'm looking forward to a play date with my granddaughter.
Nana! I can't wait to get together with my friends for a backyard barbecue.
If you're 65 or older, you're starting to get back to doing things you love. Did you know even healthy adults 65 and older are at increased risk for pneumococcal pneumonia? It's a potentially serious bacterial lung disease that can disrupt your life for weeks. Help protect yourself with the Prevnar 13 pneumococcal 13 valent conjugate vaccine, diphtheria CRM 197 protein. Prevnar 13 is approved for adults to help prevent infections from 13 strains of the bacteria that cause pneumococcal pneumonia. Prevnar 13 does not protect against all strains of the disease. Ask your doctor or pharmacist today about Prevnar 13. Learn more at Prevnar13.com. Don't get Prevnar 13 if you have had a severe allergic reaction to the vaccine or its ingredients. Adults with a weakened immune system may have a lower response to the vaccine. The most commonly reported side effect was pain at the injection site. For additional common side effects and full prescribing information, please call 1-866-694-9300 or visit Prevnar13.com.
Now back to more Sports Wrap. Presented by FanDuel. Download the FanDuel Sports app today. FanDuel, more ways to win. Here's Chris Renwick.
All right, so obviously I do my betting on FanDuel Sportsbook. I think you should too. And I was pretty dialed into a couple of games this week. One of them was Philly heading down to Atlanta to take on the Eagles. I again, in two picks for me, I'll probably be keyed in on these teams a lot this year. But I just don't think Atlanta is going to be very good. I think that Matt Ryan is well out of his prime. I don't think that defense is especially good. Obviously, the addition of Kyle Pitts is interesting. But I think that the Atlanta thing is kind of over. I think that window has passed. So I was right on that pick. Philly blasts Atlanta 32-6 for the final. Now, the other game that I was dialed in on, that was also, it got a little out of hand. I think Houston is going to be a bad team this year. I think everything surrounding Deshaun Watson is troubling. Obviously, Tyrod Taylor started at quarterback this week. They are also in a team of flux, very much like the Lions. I think they're expected by most pundits that have said that the Texans are probably going to have the number one pick next year because they're going to be so bad. So I had Jacksonville giving 3. That was my pick. Now, Houston blasted Jacksonville 37-21. All right. So pretty wrong on that. But when I was doing a little bit of digging into this today, I came across this story. I hadn't seen this. This is from a report by Jason LaConfora. And he says, told Sunday, he said this morning that apparently Urban Meyer, the new head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars, has been rubbing players and coaching staff members the wrong way due to the fact that he becomes unhinged way too easily. Here's from the report. There have been repeated issues with other coaches on staff with Meyer's temper and lack of familiarity with the ebbs and flows of the NFL calendar, rubbing the Jacksonville Jaguars staff and players the wrong way, the source said. There is a disconnect at times between the members of the staff with extensive pro experience and those who lack it, and morale has suffered as the outbursts have continued. His fiery remarks to players and coaches after games have already struck many as bizarre. This is a quote. He has everyone looking over their shoulders already, he said the source, with direct knowledge of the daily operations at Jacksonville. He becomes unhinged way too easily, and he doesn't know how to handle losing even in the preseason. He loses it, and he wants to take over the drills himself. It's not good. LaConfora also said that there has been rumblings that Meyer has lost his cool several times during the preseason, saying there were difficulties getting the schedule set and installations completed on time, sources said, with Meyer pushing to treat the preseason games more like regular season in terms of how vanilla to keep the game plan and how much play most of the vital players would get. Meyer was wildly successful at the college level, of course, at Florida, at Bowling Green, at Utah, certainly at Ohio State. And he enjoyed superior personnel. But he's lashed out at his staff after exhibition losses, sources say, called some of their job security into question, despite them having yet to play a game that actually matters in the standings. Another source said, this quote, you can't freak out about preseason games and belittle your coaches. On staff, you handpicked. Every time things don't go your way, it's not going to work here. So there's a lot of interesting things here. First of all, can we cue up the heart condition issue? 3, 2, and we've seen it in the past. The NFL and college are very different beasts. They're different animals. So just because you're an excellent college coach doesn't mean you're going to be any good in the NFL. Ask Nick Saban. Now, some guys do just fine. But
hey, Chris, does this sound a little bit like locally when John Beeline went to the Cavs? Not that he wasn't like it's not sounding like he was like how Urban Meyer is acting now, but just didn't have a connection with the players once he went pro. He had all those years in college, and to me, it sounds a little like that situation.
Well, what's interesting about that, and that's an interesting point. I mean, John Beeline is a coach's coach. Like he's a coach's coach. He started at small schools, small colleges, and then eventually made his way all the way up to West Virginia, then of course to Michigan. So when you have coaches that have that kind of trajectory, they're real coaches. So they tend to, in my mind, stick to the more the X's and O's of the game. They're really fundamental and they're very cerebral in the way that they attack coaching. But the difference is there are expectations about the differences about going from a college game to a pro game. And you're right. It's the same kind of situation here in terms of You're not dealing with kids going to class. You're not dealing with kids, making sure they're eligible, because of grades and doing homework checks and, that doesn't exist in the NFL. So your focus is different. You're able to do other things. It's just a different thing. You're dealing, instead of that, you're dealing with egos. You're dealing with guys that make more money than you do. And so it's a different deal. And so I think that's an interesting comparison. I don't know if it's exactly what's going on here, because I think Urban Meyer thinks he's the smartest man in every room. And the fact that he's looking at the preseason and like, hey, let's roll out the starters, let's roll out the playbook, and let's get this thing underway. That to me tells me he doesn't get it. Like, I understand everybody wants to win every game. I totally understand that. But those are meant for you to evaluate talent. They're meant for you to finish your installs. They're meant to hopefully expose some of the weak points on your team so that you can get them corrected for when the regular season rolls around and you're playing games that actually count, meaningful games. And I just look at that. When I saw this, I said, Jason, when I'm reading this, are you surprised by this? I'm not surprised by this at all.
God, no.
Me.
No, I didn't think it would be. We can count the preseason, but after week 1, and boy, and like you took them today, and I thought they would have a better showing against Houston today than they did.
Well, again, it was the same principle, and look, you're not going to bat 1,000. All right, it's just impossible. So you just try to be in the black as much as you can be, which I am. But with that being said, I just look at what Jacksonville has. I like what they've got a little bit more. And I understand, Trevor Lawrence being a rookie. I get it. Like, I get it. And then Travis Etienne goes down with a season-ending injury. So the wheels were kind of spinning from the get-go. But I think Houston's going to be terrible. I think they're going to be a really bad football team, like a really bad football team. And so for them to go out and just torpedo Jacksonville the way they did, I didn't see that coming. I didn't see it coming. And that's why you got that. And this is why they say you got to play the game, because I didn't see it coming. Now, I feel pretty good in saying that there's going to be, I will venture to guess, times that I will continue to bet against the Texans because, again, I just don't think they're going to be very good. But when I saw this story about Urban Meyer, I thought, yeah, this doesn't surprise me. Doesn't surprise me at all. And again, as a guy who has stepped away from coaching twice because of health issues, twice, first at Florida and then at Ohio State, I anticipate some sort of medical emergency coming down for Urban Meyer. Also, I don't know if you saw this also, Jason, before we go. And now I gotta find it. Where did I put it? This is a tweet today by Taylor Lewan, of course, the former Michigan left tackle, now the starting left tackle for the Tennessee Titans. He tweeted out, "Got my bleep kick today. No way around that. I let the team and the fans down. Thank you, Chandler Jones, for exposing me. It will only force me to get better." Now, I love me some Taylor Lewan, always have. I love the personality. I think he's a funny guy, smart guy. And that tweet right there, Jason, he's going, look, I got absolutely drilled today. I got completely exposed. And that's on me, and I got to get better. We don't see that very often in sports anymore, do we? Where's the personal accountability? I saw that tweet and I just said, of course Taylor Lewan would say that. Of course he would. I thought it was awesome.
It's his character for sure. Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely his character, man. That was another game that was surprising today. Arizona going into Tennessee and beating them by 25.
Yep. Now, there's some shockers out there today. Like, I don't know what's in the water, but something is a little amiss. Now, All right, I know we got to take a break, so let's fire up the band. I will tell you, again, you got this great deal on FanDuel for Chiefs-Ravens next week. Don't forget to take advantage of that. But Chiefs hosting the Browns today, start of the fourth quarter. Browns now only up by 2. It's 22-20. They're getting ready to start the fourth quarter. Meanwhile, the Saints are just blitzing the Packers, 31-3. My goodness. It just hurts my fantasy football roster. All right, more to come here on Sports Wrap. Coming up next, Chris Renwick right here on WJR. Don't go anywhere.
A message brought to you by the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services. Have you gotten your COVID vaccine yet? Find yours at michigan.gov/COVID vaccine or text your zip code to 438829.
Have you been diagnosed with atopic dermatitis, commonly known as eczema? Millions of Americans are diagnosed each year, and researchers are constantly developing new treatments. At our Dermatology Research Clinic in Ann Arbor, we're enrolling children and adults in paid research studies. We're also looking for patients with prurigo nodularis, psoriasis, pediatric psoriasis, chronic hives, and other skin conditions. If eligible, you could earn up to $1,500 for participating, and the treatment will be available to you at no cost and without involving insurance. To find out more, go to skintrialsmi.com. You'll be paid for each visit, and you can schedule convenient appointments with our dermatologists that fit your schedule. Just go to skintrialsmi.com. If you've been diagnosed with eczema or other skin conditions, you could be eligible for no-cost treatment in our clinical trial and receive your first payment as early as next week. That's skintrialsmi.com. Skintrialsmi.com.
Sponsored by Vial Trials.
The NFL is back, and FanDuel Sportsbook is celebrating with 40-1 odds on any Week 1 game. Who doesn't want to win $200 on a $5 bet? This is no Hail Mary. It's that simple. New customers get 40-1 odds when you place your first wager. FanDuel sports betting made simple. The app is so easy to use. I love it. It's the only one I have. Plus, when you win, you'll get paid in as little as 24 hours. Offers like this are just one of the many reasons I love betting the NFL on FanDuel, the #1 rated sportsbook app in America. Easy to use, safe and secure, fast payouts. See for yourself why FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook and my only sportsbook. They're always hooking you up with exclusive odds, boosts, great promotions, and so much more. Just sign up with promo code Paul W. One word, Paul W. You could win $200 on a $5 bet. That's promo code Paul W. Exclusively on the FanDuel Sportsbook app.
21 and older and present in Michigan. New users only. $10 first deposit required. Must wager in designated offer market. Maximum bonus $200. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Restrictions apply. Gambling problems? Call 1-800-270-7117 for confidential help.
Hi, I'm Lauren. Why was it so difficult to move? Maybe my left side had just fallen asleep. I exercise, I eat healthy.
Hi, I'm Adam. At first, I was in denial. My wife, Lauren, was only 30. But I'm familiar with signs of stroke, and no, symptoms aren't always easy to recognize. I quickly realized that something was very wrong. Lauren's speech was slurred, and her face was drooping. She was having a stroke, and I had to react immediately.
I'm so thankful Adam called 911, and I quickly received the medical attention that I needed. Now I don't take anything for granted, especially the time I get to spend with my family. Going through this experience has given me a new appreciation for life.
Looking back, I'm so grateful I didn't hesitate to call 911. A quick reaction can make all the difference. Learn signs of stroke and call 911 immediately if something seems off with someone you love. Visit strokeawareness.com.
Sponsored by Genentech and NAEMT.
Now back to more Sports Wrap. Presented by FanDuel. Download the FanDuel Sports app today. FanDuel, more ways to win. Here's Chris Renwick.
All right, I want to give you some of the scores from around the NFL today. Seahawks all over the Colts, 28-16. Chargers on top of the Washington football team, 20-6. Panthers over the Jets, 19-14. Again, the Texans blitzed the Jaguars 37-21. Let me see here. Obviously, the 49ers beat the Lions 41-33. Eagles on top of the Falcons 32-6. It was the Bills over the Steelers 23-16. The Bengals in overtime, kicking a game-winning field goal to beat the Vikings 27-24. And again, the Cardinals absolutely crushing the Titans by 25 points, 38-13. A couple of other games on tap tonight, of course, of interest here. You got the Rams hosting the Bears. Of course, Matt Stafford out in LA. It's going to be interesting to see what he puts together. And that'll be your Sunday night game. And then a couple of games in progress right now. The Broncos with a 13-point lead over the Giants with about 6 minutes to go. And they're up by 13. Saints all over the Packers, 38-3. Dolphins on top of the Patriots with about 12 minutes to go in that one, 17-13. And again, Browns just extending their lead. They're up 28-20. Jason, I want to get some of your thoughts in here, obviously. A big football fan. And with everything that the Lions did today, of course, obviously, they dug themselves into an early hole that they just weren't able to get out of. But I at least admire the fact that this team is going to play a full game. They're going to scratch and claw, much like Dan Campbell said in his introductory press conference. But this is about what I thought they'd be. I thought they'd be a team that was going to be playing from behind a lot, but a team that was going to give you everything they got, and that's kind of what we saw today.
Yeah, they're definitely with the fact that they didn't quit. Well, I don't think they're going to quit after one game, but just it was like kind of the personality of this guy. The defense isn't going to be good, so unfortunately, they're going to see a lot of this of trying to come back. They're going to give up a lot of points like they did last year, unfortunately.
Yep. No, I agree.
But on a side note, real quick, while you're reading the scores, did you see Jameis Winston 5 touchdown passes today?
I'll tell you what.
Sean Payton's a genius.
I don't know what's going on here. I mean, it's 38-3. New Orleans over Green Bay with damn near 11 minutes to go in that game still. I mean, Aaron Rodgers is 15 for 28.
He's
for
out of the game now.
Yards. Yeah, and 2 interceptions. I mean, this is wild. This is not something that I expected. I can tell you that. But yeah, Jameis Winston has gone bonkers. 14 for 20 for 148 yards and 5 touchdowns. That's not a stat line you see very often.
And the last touchdown throw was 55 yards. So he was under 100 yards before that with
5 touchdowns. It's crazy. It's crazy. Before we go also, I wanted to give some love to a member of a team that I was completely enamored with. And I'm sure you were too, Jason. But the going to work Pistons, that whole core of Ben Wallace, Chauncey Billups, Rip Hamilton, Tayshaun Prince, Rasheed Wallace, that group, well, they were together again. Yesterday, Saturday night, as Ben Wallace was entered into the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame. And in terms of excitement, in terms of being able to get a crowd to their feet in just a moment's notice, Ben Wallace the Palace would be a madhouse because of a Ben Wallace dunk or a rejection or whatever. I mean, Ben Wallace was just, he was such a force on the floor. And then obviously the whole fear of the fro and everything, that whole persona. He was sent into the Hall of Fame last night, and a lot of his teammates were there to support him. And it was a really, really cool scene. And so congratulations to Ben Wallace. I mean, Jason, that was like the height of my like Piston fandom. was the going to work Pistons. So to see Ben Wallace go in, it's really cool.
Yeah, that was a special team, and for them to beat the Lakers, the Lakers were so good. That was they dominated that series. They should have swept it. And Ben Wallace, 4-time Defensive Player of the Year, well deserved.
But they should have won back to back. I can tell you that.
They should.
What's awesome about Ben Wallace is, he's 6'8" and he played center in the NBA. And he was so physical. He was just so incredibly his fundamentally sound, that he was able to play a lot bigger than 6'8". And again, talking about shutting down a guy like Shaq, who's 7 foot and just a ball of muscle. Being able to shut down a guy like Shaq the way that Ben Wallace did was incredible. So anyway, Ben Wallace goes into the Hall of Fame.
And that team changed the way the game is played up even today, because the NBA didn't want scores in the 70s anymore.
No, and I think it was now it's escaping me, but I think it was 04, where they set the record for holding opponents under 80 points.
I think you're right. Yeah, I'd have to look it up.
I think it was 04. But they were allowing 75 points a game on average. I mean, it was crazy. They were just so incredibly suffocating. And it was a really nice, in years later, of course, but almost 20 years later, but it was a nice kind of extension of the Bad Boys. And they weren't quite as, blatantly, flagrantly physical as the Bad Boys were. But they had their own style of that. Like they kind of evolved what the Bad Boys did, and kind of did it and made it a modern version of that in basketball. And so it was just cool to see Ben Wallace get in yesterday. So there's that. Now we will be back next week, of course. Saturday, Sunday, 6 to 7, right here on WJR. And of course, we're going to talk a lot of basketball, or a lot of football, excuse me. College football in full swing, the NFL in full swing. And now you've got, we're in the thick of it now. So make sure you come back here next Saturday, 6 o'clock, and we'll break it all down again. All right. Have yourself a wonderful rest of your weekend, and a productive week ahead. And we'll talk to you next weekend. Have yourself a good one.
Don't miss Chaz Palminteri in the original one-man.
Oh, all right, everybody. Thank you. Appreciate it. We'll talk to you next weekend. Have a good one. All right. And we'll have some more football to talk about. There's no doubt about that. All right.